Hi.
Yes, of course.
Woohoo.
How are you? Du siehst
Hello,
total
Anja.
überstrahlt aus.
Hello, Anja. Hello, hi. You adjust the volume here. By the way, if the volume is really high or on your end, you can adjust that at the bottom of your screen. Okay, you have full control over the DJ capabilities. Hey, hi. It is what, midday before lunch for you? Lunch? Yep. Okay, sweet. Skipping lunch to be here. Oh my God, we're gonna make it worth it. Promise. Anya, how about you? Where are you tuning in from? Can you hear us?
I can't seem to put this in here.
We hear you. Let's see. Anya, we hear you, but I'm not sure if you can hear us. Maybe not. Hello? Hey, Ashley. All right, we are kicking us off. Team is here as well. Okay, so because we're super pressured on time, but because I do not like to start any session or meeting before we do a little warm up, simply because for me and Inga and Felix, I think, and for several others, it's afternoon. It's end of the day. It's 5:30. I've been sitting the whole day, and my brain's a bit black. Oren, hey team, SL, welcome. So I want to play a little game. You up? Up for it? Everyone's like, no. And Maria, it's going to be a super short one and an easy one and a fun one. If you have your camera on, you're awesome. If you have your camera off and can open your camera, you're even more awesome. If you have your camera off and cannot open it, you're the awesomest. That's fine. Don't stress. All good. All right. So here's how we play the game. Let's start the music in a second. We're only going to use the upper body, obviously, the things that we can see in the camera. And as I flip to the flashcards, we will see a set of prompts. Our job for the next minute or so is to recreate that shape or that object that follows on the flashcard with whatever we can see in the camera, right? Arms, hands, etc. See? Give me a thumbs up if you're with me. Well, yes, okay, excitement. Look at the fireworks. Woohoo! All right. Okay, music on. Let's do this. So here we have the first one. Here we go. A circle. Come on, that's easy. Oren, show it. Let's see. Let's see your circle. Oren is like, work smarter, not harder, you know? Okay, a circle. Nice. Give me a heart. Give me a heart. Give me a heart. Give me a heart. Yes. Heart shapes. I love it. Hi in the chat. You're doing awesome. Sweet. Give me a tree. A tree. It's a tree. Come on. Give me a tree. Give me a tree. Okay, team, you got it. Annette. Okay, cool. Inga. Yes, Oren. Nice. Hi. You give me a palm tree. That's awesome. A snake, everyone. We've got a snake. It's a snake. Let's snake it out. Yes. I see some snakes. Team, I think it was, what is that? Is that a cobra? All right. Hey, Anna, welcome. If you're in the airport, okay. Give everyone in the airport a butterfly, Anna. Give them a butterfly. I think this is very fitting for airports. Okay. I'm in a co-work. It's so embarrassing. You've got this, Orden. Last one, I think. Half moon. Give me a half moon. Give me a full body half moon. Okay, team. Awesome. Perfect, everyone. We've made it. Airport, co-working spaces. You're doing great. Thank you very much. Okay, I feel a bit better. I don't know about you. And so I really want to welcome Inga and Felix today. And we're going to spend the next 45 minutes kicking going into a particular use case of a project they worked on. Welcome, Inga. Welcome, Felix. We can't wait to learn from you. Feel free to take it away. And for everyone in the room, use the chat for questions. We're going to surface them at the end. And let's go.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Anna Maria. And hello, everyone. It's good to see you. And I hope you can hear us. And thank you for coming on such a, I don't know where you sit in Germany. It's super lovely weather. So I appreciate a lot for you to join us if you have great weather outside like we do. I'm not here on my own. I'm here with Felix. Hi, you can wave. So he's going to share more about himself as well. Let me quickly share our screen so we don't keep you waiting too long. Let's see. Can you see this? Is this working well?
That's all working well.
Perfect. Oh, I love this.
And also use the emojis.
So our topic is, well, when I was asked in these past years, what are you working on? I said, yes, I'm helping the German press agency to introduce a new software to the organization. And for everyone I talked to about, it sounded as sexy as introducing SAP to a large corporation. And I was like, no, but it's super cool. And it's all about culture change. And then I was like, but then we were like, yes, but it's software and software trainings. How could this be? I thought you were a new learning person. I was like, yes, I am. It's totally all about that. Well, I've spent the past 2 years trying to share a bit why this project for me felt very special. And I'm hoping like Felix and I can convince you a bit also that doing tool adoption in companies can actually be a super creative and joyful change project that can spark a lot of collaboration and new ways of working, and it can shift mindsets. And this is all what we're about. I'm Inga. I am a freelance new learning consultant, and I've spent the past 2 years working with Felix on this Rubik's project for the German press agency. And both of us are here to share with you a little bit why digital tool adoption can spark new ways of working to be more transparent and collaborative. But before I hand over to Felix to explain a bit to you what is the German press agency and what do they do and what was this project all about, a very quick check-in from you guys. Hi, Bettina, also. I would love to understand, are you actually maybe in a similar project at the moment? If yes, what kind? Or is there anything you're particularly interested to learn about today? If it's no, just hearing a bit what others are doing, that is also very okay, obviously. But if you have anything to share, please let us know so we can make sure that we focus on this already. And while people are still adding in chat, cool, hi. Curious people are very welcome. That's also perfect. So we have prepared something. So let me hand over to Felix so he can give us a bit of background on how this project got started.
Yes, thank you, Inga, for the introduction. Hi from my side. I'm Felix. I was with the DPA, the Deutsche Presseagentur, the German press agency, for almost 12 years. I started there as a journalistic trainee, and then I became an editor. I was business correspondent and a regional chief of news. So I know this organization pretty much inside out. And for the last 5 years at DPA, I was head of newsroom innovation. And besides other smaller projects, my biggest task was, together with a great team of engineers and other experts, to develop and roll out a new editorial system. But before we get to that, I don't know if everybody knows the DPA, the German press agency. Not like, even in Germany, there's very, very much people that doesn't know a thing about it because they are in the background. The DPA, in a nutshell, it is a news agency similar to the Associated Press or Reuters. So DPA is the 4th largest worldwide, and it is owned by all major German media companies. So everybody has shares in the DPA, almost everybody, but not more than 1.5%. So the main goal of the company is to provide news. And this is also the business. It's aggregating and distributing news for media companies, but also for business and governance institutions, NGOs. The DPA for a couple of years does fact-checking, for example, for Facebook and other networks. And the DPA is politically neutral and is not owned by anybody in particular, but by the German media companies. The DPA has about 1,300 employees all around the world. This is half of the staff almost is journalists. 55 offices in Germany and 81 offices abroad. So it's a very decentral organization spread all around the world. We get to this later, why this is problematic for a project like ours. And when I started as head of newsroom innovation, the goal was nothing less than innovate the entire news production at DPA. So the news production looked pretty much like what you see on the right side there. This was our production system by that time. And like almost all other legacy news organizations, DPA wanted to transform its business and its production from print first to digital first, or from analog to digital. But we also wanted to enable teams to be to work more cross-organizational, to collaborate on specific news topics, and to tackle the challenges of daily news business together. And as I said, decentral organization, this is quite problematic. And of course, we wanted to increase product quality and also be able to maybe be able to offer other products in the future, like that have to do with news, but that we don't know exactly what they will look like. So this was the task, and our idea, or our idea of solution, was to design and build a new CMS as a lever for change. So because with the content management system as a news agency, you can define what products can be produced, or what can get out of it, what you can offer to the customer, but you can also influence on a large scale how people work together, how people produce news. And so we wanted to, or we saw this project from the beginning on as a very strategic one, and not only take one piece of software, put it in place of the old one, and do the same as we did before. So we wanted to change the way we produce news, and we get to this later. This came along with cultural changes at the DPA. The DNA of the DPA is, it's very, like, we call it Tayloristic. The news production is very Tayloristic. Like the factories where there's one guy who drives a screw into this particular place, and then it gets to the next, and he does this thing. So there's no real collaboration, but it was very efficient, very precise. And so, this is pretty much the DPA of the whole news production. The DPA works in 24/7 shifts. So not everybody, not every office, but the DPA is of course always ready to jump in if there's any big news. The production is running 24/7. And the DPA is very committed to the facts. That means being accurate on every little piece of report is very important. The news agencies, not only DPA, I think AP invented this saying, but it's get the news first, but first get them right. So this accuracy is very important, and this leads to a no mistake culture. So mistakes are very, very bad. And if you get into such an organization with an agile mindset where you come from a fail fast culture, this clashes. So you have to find the sweet spot between this and also find opportunities to open this rigid accuracy culture up a little where it's possible. It's not possible everywhere, because accuracy, making mistakes as a news agency, not so good. As I said, DPA is very decentralized organization spread all around the world, and it's very daily business focused. Long-running projects are not in the DNA. It's like, okay, something is happening, everybody on it, and next day, next issue. So imagine DPA, like as you see on the picture on the right, as a very complex clockwork with big and small gears, constantly churning. This defined the challenges for our project. We had like two main challenges. The first one is how can we open up existing, very process-oriented, failure-averse, rigid culture for more transparent, collaborative, agile ways of working. This was like the one big challenge. And the second, and this is where Inga comes into play, how to train a never stopping, decentral and global organization to be ready for a fundamental change on launch day. And yeah, as I said, this is where I'm very happy that I saw Inga on a keynote speech in another context, and I told her after a keynote speech, well, Inga, I think in 1 year we will be talking again. And Inga said, yeah, sure, in 1 year, yeah, sure, you will call me, yeah. And 1 year later, her phone rang, and it was me, and we were talking about DPA and what we call onboarding or training or enabling the employees for the new way of working. So what can you do to tackle challenge one? Open up this very process-oriented organization. This is not, in terms of news agencies, this is not groundbreaking news that I'm telling you, but consistent communication of why, how, and what is like very key. I don't know how many times I repeated and talked about the slides that you see on the right. You have to always share and focus on the key goals and principles from the start. Like, don't get there with 100 slides presentations with detailed plans, but it's very important to work on your punchlines, on memorable punchlines that you repeat all the time. And sometimes we came into meetings and the people asked us, well, where's the jazz band? Because this was one of our metaphors that we used. So yeah, and this was the moment when I said, well, okay, I think everybody has it. And of course, like, can you get one slide back? Just a second point, be transparent about that. MVP approach that we took, and this is also very new for this organization. And yeah, as I said, the jazz band metaphor. This is the metaphor for how we want to work together, like a jazz band jams together. So where everybody can hear the music and work together. And also no big news, but very important, early involvement of all stakeholders. We had to start from the beginning to introduce principles of agile software development and try to transfer them to other contexts. And yeah, we had to do a lot of talking. And what we did to involve stakeholders, on all hierarchy levels, DPA is also a very hierarchy driven organization. We did a lot of user research, and when I'm saying user research, I think user research is one half of it is research that you can directly implement into the software, but the other half is project or product marketing in this case, if you are working on an internal project. And it is so important, everybody who did a user testing with us, they were advocates of the software because it was their software. They were part of the development, and this was fundamentally important. We had a lot of open review meetings, an event like we called it DPA Garage, where we showed what are we working on at the moment. Beta testings, pilot groups, you name it. And we also had this events to promote digital change in general and digital innovation, because lots of journalists, they don't get in touch with it. They don't, especially in decentral organizations, if the headquarters in Germany and you work in China, or as I saw in the chat here in Argentina, it's pretty challenging to keep up with what is going on, and we wanted to have everybody on board. And yeah, I just picked. Should I pick this question now, or should we get to it later?
Just jazz it. What do you feel? Do you want to go with it? Just jazz it out.
Yeah.
You want to go now?
Okay.
You want to go at the end?
Yeah, we gonna. So I'm jazzing it out.
I think
now.
we can follow up on it also, if okay, because we're a bit tight on time. So I would propose that we continue. And
all right. So, yeah, this is basically this is it regarding stakeholder management. And the closer you get to rollout day, the more important becomes training and enabling the colleagues to be able to use the software. And this is where Inga came into play. And I'm happy to hand over to you, Inga.
I'll do the speedier. I'll speed us up to have more time for questions. But Anna Maria, it was true that also in this approach of involving stakeholders already, because going about it in an agile way, the goal of being more collaborative and more transparent was quite obviously very contrary to a very hierarchical DNA of DPA, where everything had to go to team leads and sub-team leads and representatives. And we were trying to go as bottom up as possibly whenever we could, involving normal journalists in all user testings, and rather trying to have the chain bottom up. And this is why we also very early on said, as soon as we are really planning for a roadmap and knowing when we want to launch, we need the support of people in the teams as one side, as a typical change agent, so that they multiply our news into the teams and that they feedback also very clearly back to us what's happening in the teams. What's the sentiment? Are people okay? Do they understand what's happening or not? So we would have these change agents, but great. And it was quite important. We wanted to have them nominated and apply themselves, but that was a moment we had to give into the hierarchical function. But what we did was we gave a very specific briefing. You can see it on the slide in the bottom right. We were super clear. How much time do we need of those people? In what time frame? And what is exactly their job? And I must say, the selection and nomination of those people was excellent. And very early on, we were super. We did a kickoff with them for 1.5 days in person. And we realized, okay, they did nominate the right people. We have very motivated, innovation open people here. So that was working very well. So these were the 3 points where we were really trying to get everyone with us and open up to people and have a group of people that we could talk to more closely with. So we could explain to them much more our back thoughts and explain in more detail what is MVP. So they could help us bring that message to everyone and explain why we're going about it this way. Regarding the second question on how did we overcome this training challenge, we very early looked at what is tool training? How do you learn a new tool? And I drew this very non-scientifically approved chart to explain a bit how I would see this. And this is a chart I first showed Felix, said, this is how I would look at it, at building a learning journey for people to learn a tool. And then he said, okay, let's show this to our bosses and let's show this to everyone. So we used it everywhere to explain to people, you're going to learn a tool and this is what you're going to go through, the experience you're going to have. And it worked super well. So I wanted to share with you that we said, well, there is going to be a first phase. Felix had already started this. There's something new coming. It's going to be better. And everyone has starry eyes, is super excited. And the dark green curve is sort of the time they need to spend. So obviously they need to attend to a few meetings or informational events, and they need to spend some time with Rubik's, but always it'll hear super cool. It's far away. Everyone is on board and happy. But the sooner the launch day comes, we have to start to get realistic about, you have to actually you have to know your main business, how to do it in the tool before we have D-Day of rollout day. So there will be a strong training phase where you need to wrap your head around this. And we can already promise you we're going to do this as fun and productive as possible, but you will have to sweat a little. And I promise you're going to start to get disappointed. There will be aspects that you're not going to like. You're suddenly realizing, but then I cannot use my most favorite feature in the old tool anymore. I don't like the way this is going to be. And we told people that up front as well, because we knew that we can train people as much as we want before they start using the tool in a productive way. People will have the steepest learning curve as soon as they have to actually live reality and real business, daily business in the tool. And we also showed them, this is going to come. Be ready to have a few days of a bit of a upside down, messy work life. You're going to get through it. We know that you'll be much more confident in the tool afterwards. And hopefully you'll get into a continuous learning cycle, because we're going to release more features. It's going to be an evolving product. There's going to be so much cooler stuff, so that you'll be super fast in becoming a super smart user and start to love the tool even more. The more you will give us feedback, the more we will be able to build it exactly to you, tailored to your needs. And this promise, by looking at that, we realized, also with the schedule of people and working around the clock, news is always more important than learning or doing anything else. We knew people would need a very flexible training offer. So we decided to really focus on making everything, giving several ways of learning, offering like an introduction to Rubik's in a Zoom meeting, but that could also be learned with an e-learning journey, or just watching the recording, or just trying it out on a playground version of the software that was always around, and only monitored that people would sign up for a live session of simulating daily life in the tool, so that it would experience how it feels like to collaborate with team members in the tool. So this was a must-have format that we tracked super closely, had everyone registered or not. And I started to manually request people one by one to make sure everyone would sign up for one of these. For everything else, and that was the second way we tackled this, made sure to put learners in charge of their own learning. So we would repeatedly say, you need to learn this tool because it's coming on January 31st. And you need to be sure that you feel secure to do the most important daily tasks. How you do that, kind of up to you. We had an early bird phase that was strongly communicated to encourage especially users that were more, we sort of said, people who are super curious to see what this is all about, or people who know that they probably want to rather have more time practicing this. Go ahead, join us already in November. You will have access to the tool to train. You can do whatever you want. But if you feel more super confident about tools, be totally okay. You can start learning this in mid-January if you're confident about it. all these options. And then in the simulation training, we would ask people, what are the key tasks you have to do in your CMS every day? What are the most important tasks that you are doing on an everyday basis in this business? And how secure do you feel at the moment to do those in the tool? And they would rate it from 1 to 5. After the simulation training, we would ask them again, how secure do you feel about these tasks now? And then we would tell them, if you have any 3 anywhere, please, how do you plan on increasing that to a 4 at least, or even better to a 5? What can we do? How can we help you? And that was the third element that was super helpful and then cool. We built a very robust support system that we made sure that there's a lot of help for self-help available at any time. That is, we opened up the support channel already in November for a launch at the end of January, and everyone who already attended in the early bird trainings was able to so already ask questions to us. People were able to access the playground platform anytime. So this is exactly what we asked people to practice in their own time, and they loved it. You can imagine people are in weekend shifts, and sometimes news is not happening as much as we expected it. So it was great for them to use that time to watch a recording, and only 50% of people attended one of the official information Zoom modules that were needed to do before you joined such a simulation. So we saw that a lot of people did it in a different way, but everyone who came to the simulation wasn't surprised about what they were going to do. So it was quite good. We offered open office hours, and obviously we encouraged our ambassadors, so the change agents, more and more to also offer their help, being open to questions. So a lot of supports also happened just in the teams between colleagues. And let me fast forward, and then we can hopefully have time for your question. So how was the rollout? First of all, so January 31st, 5 o'clock in the morning, everyone was told, stop working in the old tool now and log into the new one and continue the news production there. 5 o'clock is a time where a lot of shifts are changing, so it was a good moment, and it's still early enough. And basically, how was it? First of all, what was great, our clients didn't notice negatively that there were any change happening. So that for us was the main key indicator. Have we had a successful launch or not? That worked.
And this is a good thing, actually.
It's a super good thing, because it was super important that we wouldn't disrupt the news production. Obviously, that had to be maintained. And clients were already receiving a few better things, I must say. So positive changes, yes. Secondly, out of all the 600 journalists, we had one person calling saying, what is this new tool? And she was a very lonely person working in a different country. And she had particularly background of not listening too much. So it wasn't even that surprising, but out of 600 people, everyone was well prepared to do their main business in the tool. So we were very happy about that. And all the support questions we had to answer were no surprise to us. So we had a lot of pre-prepared questions. We could answer all the questions within minutes. So cool. But what was even more important, and that was something that exceeded our expectations by far, which is why we're now talking about this project, was that we got so much feedback. People were loving launch day. People got excited. Team leads were writing to us what an amazing team event this is. People were like, I've never experienced such a communal effort. I've never experienced so much collaboration with my colleagues. Everyone is helping each other out. And it went that far that people started organizing a party for the launch event and forgot to invite the Rubik's team because it felt like such a team effort. So that was weird for us, but it was also amazing because we're like, okay, we kind of really managed well to get the group into the change and have them feel like it's their own. And so this was really sort of what was super useful for us. Not everything was perfect, and I'm going to wrap this up in 4 minutes. You're going to fly through this quickly so we can open up for questions. But obviously not everything was perfect. If you ask Felix and also myself, we would have loved to change and disrupt the way of working a lot more. We were going for much more change in the beginning, but this being a bottom-up process, this being a process that was not supported equally in all management teams, we had to realistically go with with the change willingness of the organization and basically be okay with it. That was life. And I remember a lot of things were happening in January, and I started to get a bit like, why are we even putting so much effort in? Sorry, yes, I was the Frina, but still, I was sort of asking Felix, what keeps you motivated at the moment? Because obviously it wasn't easy all the time. And at some stage, he was like, Inga, I think 80% of the change we wanted to achieve has already been done. And that was my killer moment for me in January, where it's like, okay, that's 6 weeks. I'm going to pull through here, no problem, because you're right. I think it's already happened, the change. It's not the launch day. It's the way people are getting ready for it, the way we've long lost control of what is happening in every team. And that's cool. So what made this successful? I'm going to skip the other things that we didn't do, but I think besides the more typical strategies that we just shared, but that really did work well for us, Felix role modeled this a lot, but we were all very, very clear in our communication. Obviously, we got a lot of negative comments, a lot of critical comments. These journalists were looking for the bad thing in the story. That is their daily job. They were doing it with us and the project, and they were always telling me what was not going to work and how these things are super important, and obviously. And we had our private moments of saying, if he's saying one more thing, I'm going to jump out of the window, obviously. But we would always go back and say, this feedback is so valuable, but for the following reasons, we choose not to prioritize this. And so we would always be in this sort of, we wouldn't sugarcoat anything of saying, but this is such an amazing product. No, we wouldn't even do that. We would be just very calmly explain again and again. So we would pay 100% attention, and we would answer everything, and we would comment on everything, but no sugarcoating and no saying yes to things we can't do.
The best tip for those situations that I got from Inga is breathe. Just breathe, think about it, and then answer. But breathing is very important in those situations.
Yeah, when you have 600 people slacking you with direct messages and putting those in group chats, yes, important to breathe all day long. And the second thing that we did was, obviously, we role model a lot of behavior, and safe enough to try approach was one of the most important ones, because journalists tend to focus a lot on potential risks and things we have forgotten. And this is something, see, you haven't thought of that sort of attitude. And but I think it's safe enough to try, and role modeling this was really important for us, because we were focusing them on the actual risk or potential situation that could arise from it, to put it into relation to what was at stake. And that was really helpful. Also asking for feedback and then transparently sharing the feedback, learning from that feedback, and doing things differently after was also role modeling the way we wanted them to sort of cope with mistakes and how to work with it and how to learn this. And it did work, because we were doing it like super consistently. A lot of attention went into that, but that's how our change agents learned a lot from us and started to also role model this behavior in their teams. And that's how we started to get this sort of, but it's safe enough to try. Yes, let's give that as a feedback. Usually they respond and it will change something. And finally, we had, it sounds silly, and obviously it's a no-brainer, but in a company that's so committed to facts, don't forget to still make it enjoyable and fun. So Felix was all about, we need socks. So Felix was going for socks. I didn't understand socks, but socks were amazing. People loved the socks. This picture here is in the picture long before, and the change agent put the socks on for the team marathon already in June last year, and it was like super good. We did like nice merchandise. All the change agents got a sweater with the logo on the D-Day, and then they could be supporting. And we had this astronaut with the QR code to link to the help center. So everyone loved this sort of, this was a super joyful thing. The rocket was our check-in board with the ambassadors. So these were all these little things. Even our meetups, we made sure to introduce a few fun energizers in between. But man, I can tell you, I work for other organizations that are much more into fun things than journalists committed to facts. So I had to really dial down Anna Maria. I was doing the Energizer here. I was like, yeah, oh yes, they killed all of that vibe. So I had to bring up my courage again, say, I'm going to try something silly once again. It'll fail, but we'll have tried it, and it'll put something of the energy into the room anyhow. So this was also it. And yes, that's all we wanted to share, basically, because showing you it is possible to introduce new agile ways of working and slowly breaking the shell of even the most traditional companies and the most traditional process-oriented things. Change is a delicate game of control and then trust. And we had to let go of a lot of things on the way. And obviously, as I said before, I am amazed that digital tool adoption processes, obviously, when you have a good tool, it's something that's also important. When the new tool asks for new ways of working, it's obviously something different than if you just introduce and change a tool. But I feel companies are underestimating the power these processes have, because you really have something where you reach everyone. And very often in innovation projects, we only reach a few people. But we sometimes forget that change processes that need to happen anyway can be a great way to go one step further, like Felix wanted. Not just change the tool, no, let's shoot for the stars and rebuild the whole way we're working, thinking about our job. And he did. He managed well, and together we also did a little bit. And now let's jump right into our questions. We're a bit longer than we expected. I hope that's okay. Let me maybe go back to this slide.
I am closing the slide share so we can bring everyone up on screen.